It's Sunday at Giornate del Cinema Muto, Pordenone Silent Film Festival, and that means, as always, that our early afternoon event is with the high school groups, high school music groups from Pordenone and Conegliano, who are performing for 3 slapstick shorts, including 2 lovely shorts from Walt Disney. After that, we're launching into several of the other strands that we have this year for you. So starting with Harry Peel. Now, Harry Peel is one of our largest series this year. Harry Peel was the great producer, director, actor from Germany. He began his career in 1912, and he was one of the biggest box office kings of his period, not just in Germany, but internationally. In Italy, in the UK, in France, in the Soviet Union, in fact. He was enormously popular for his adventure films, but he's been more or less forgotten. He was the kind of popular actor and director who didn't work with the so-called greats. He wasn't an auteur, as we think of it in terms of sort of Pabst and Murnau and people like that. And yet he was an absolutely charming, enjoyable, not only performer, but also director. So he did things like, having people, or himself, jumping out of Montgolfier balloons and off of bridges, exciting car chases. And these are the sorts of things that we're going to be seeing. Today we're screening 2 of his earliest films that survive, one from 1913, one from 1914. And so I'm sure this is going to be a series that you should not only follow, but will really also revive the reputation of this extremely important figure from his period. After that, we're starting also with our slapstick series, and this is a series that's looking at the cross currents between Europe and America. We're calling it Transatlantic Echoes, to get an understanding of how comics from both sides of the Atlantic were borrowing from each other and reusing gags in all sorts of different ways, because it was such a fecund moment in comedy history, shall we say. Each program is divided into a theme. Today's theme is Cut to the Chase, so marvelous chase films. Each program is going to be consisting of shorts as well as one feature. So the shorts, again, even including in this today, a Mack Sennett with Mabel Normand at Coney Island is just one of the shorts that we're screening for you. And then the feature is a British film directed by Walter Ford called Would You Believe It? The evening screening is a very special screening. Of course, I say that every time. Hell's Heroes, 1929, William Wyler. Now, Wyler made this film on both a sound version and a silent version. This was quite common in this day in 1929, when so many theaters had yet to adapt to sound. So often there were 2 versions that were made. The sound version is better known. You could even see it on YouTube, in fact. But we're screening, of course, the silent version with a live musical accompaniment with John Sweeney. And it is one of the great Westerns. It was the moment when Wyler really came into his own, and it's going to be a particularly special evening. After Hell's Heroes, we have a real treat. Now, for those of you who attended the festival before the pandemic, you may remember that there were quite a lot of later evening screenings. We've not done that since lockdown, since the pandemic. But at that time, many people told me that I seemed to be saving the most unusual films, the real treats again, for later. And indeed, this year, we've gone back to that a little bit. Only 2 nights do stay after Hell's Heroes, because we have an absolutely delightful screening, a compilation of shorts curated by Maggie Hennefeld and Enrique Ceballos called Feminist Archive Fragments. So these are films that you'll probably won't have a chance to see anywhere else, because for the most part they're fragments from all over, from France, even from Mexico actually, that speak to feminism, proto-feminism, the whole Nasty Women project that, of course, was spearheaded by Maggie Hennefeld and Laura Horak. So this is going to be an absolutely delightful and riotous, I can even say, cap to the evening after Hell's Heroes. Make sure you stay.